here with Pavel Stepanov from Virtudesk, and why don't you give us a little bit of background on yourself, and I like to ask the founder's story.
Sure, no problem. Background on myself, I came into the real estate industry from legal industry, where I used to work as a paralegal. Then I went to get a law degree. While waiting for my bar results, I got into the real estate, started to sell homes, and I hired a virtual assistant in the Philippines to help me out with listings. She was doing prospecting for me, calling for sale by owners, expireds, getting me in front of clients. So I kind of saw the leverage of it and the beauty of it. And in 2015, I actually opened my own brokerage, and brokers in my office were asking me to help them out to get somebody to prospect for them or do any admin work and transaction work. So I started to look for people. I interviewed people. I helped them to get them onboarded with my agents in my company, in my brokerage. So that kind of the idea came up. I said, well, I could probably do it on a more way bigger scale. And that's why we scaled it nationally. We basically don't sell to brokers anymore. I'm sorry, I mean to my agents, but across the country and in Canada. So that's what's going on.
Okay, so that prompted you to start Virtudesk.
Exactly, yeah.
What is Virtudesk?
Virtudesk is a company where we provide virtual assistants to real people who work for you. They work out of country, so that's why the cost is so low to actually have somebody working for you. And they're trained. We already picked them up. We already hired them. They went through the vetting process, which was very exhaustive, because every day we get about like 60, 70 resumes from people who want to work for us, and we only hire out of the batch probably about 6 or 7. So it's we're very selective, exactly.
Right, beautiful. And so it sounds like you are tailoring this to real estate, although you perform operations for a large variety of companies, tech companies, and other industries.
Exactly.
Is that based off of your background and understanding the problems that you're looking to solve? Exactly,
because I know what typical real estate agent problems that they have.
Right.
And a lot of it, I mean, frankly, as you guys know, about 10% of agents sell 90% of real estate. And it's a sad reality, and we know about it, so we know what needs to be done, how prospecting needs to work. That's why we do training for our virtual assistants. That way, so they're gonna be ready to address the needs of a client.
And are you working with, let's say, real estate brokerages to help the firm, the firm-wide get set up? So all of their brokers,
Yes.
And what's the learning curve? What's the setup time, if you will?
Let's say somebody wants to hire a virtual assistant. Since they're already being vetted by us, we put them in front of a potential client for the interview. So we put like 5, 6 people. So the client actually can pick who they feel is going to actually fit in their company culture, who they have chemistry with.
Interesting.
So the setup time is probably going to be about a day or 2. Because they need to do meet and greet, and they need to exchange the logins, they need to provide the access to the database or to the CRM that they're using. So that person basically can be up and running like in probably 1 or 2 days.
And it's actually nice that it's not instantaneous, because it sounds pretty different than your traditional virtual assistant, which is traditionally a bot or somebody that you're never going to get to meet or figure out if you have that chemistry, if they're the right fit.
Exactly. It's a real person who's working for you, and we have the way of monitoring them, because obviously you're hiring somebody not in your not in your office. You don't know what this person may be doing. Instead of they can just bill you hours, let's say, and not do the work. So we figure out a way to monitor them. We have a proprietary software that takes screenshots, and they have to log into the software and upload it to their computer in order for them to work. So let's say you were a client and you have a VA who's working for you, and you just decided I would like to see what they're doing right now. Let me take some screenshots, and you can do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give real estate professionals to work smarter and spend their time more efficiently?
Exactly. I mean, you got to leverage your time, because frankly, if you're a real estate agent and you are doing tasks that probably cost like $10 an hour, you're not really leveraging your time right. So the best way to do it, obviously, to get somebody who can do this work for you and concentrate your energy and time on what you actually do better. You know, let's say if you're good with people, you can meet with clients, spend your time there, and let somebody else to delegate to do tasks that are time consuming and not income producing. So that's my best advice.
And what are some of the traditional tasks that you might outsource to a virtual assistant through Virtudesk?
We have a high demand for people hiring them to prospect,
Okay.
to do prospecting,
Sure.
to do phone calls, to call your database, to call for sale by owners, expired list. We also have people who hiring them to do social media postings,
Okay.
blog writing, Instagram, Twitter postings, LinkedIn articles, also to do administrative work, like needs to send out the emails, to create newsletters, stuff that actually, like, I'm not good at art, for example, but I have people who post like
Sure.
cool stuff, and people asking me, what is it? Where do we get all this? I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, manage the database, manage the CRM, transaction coordinators as well. Let's say you get a deal in the contract, so, you know, instead of, again, having somebody in the office, you can just basically email it to your VA, and she can upload it to your whatever back office software that you're using for your broker, or she can start, you know, like escrow process. She can basically contact the parties, basically be a transaction coordinator from the contract until closing of the deal. I have mine. She's basically coordinating inspections. She's coordinating with the lender as well if anything needs to be done. So that kind of like takes a lot of stuff from me.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
I think we could all use a couple of virtual assistants. So this really speaks to kind of the gig economy at large, right? And this nature of having a flexible
Exactly.
workforce. It's very untraditional in real estate, though. So what's the response been?
We've actually been pretty good, and the response is generally that people first like, oh, I don't see what they're doing. I want to see what they're doing, and we've already hit that curve. We've addressed it with, okay, well, you can see what they're doing because you can have the screenshots done. You can see, you can monitor them. They can actually upload whatever task they've done during the day. You can see them every day. You can have a communication. With internet, the world became smaller. So it's very common to hire somebody in a different country to do the work for you, and at a fraction of the cost as compared that it would be, you know, somebody working in your office. And frankly, a lot of agents right now go in cloud, and they don't really work in the office. I mean, who really shows up at their offices? I mean, nowadays, it's,
Right.
with, you know, we see agents supposed to be showing homes, pretty much.
Right.
You know, even meeting with the clients. I mean, I run a brokerage as well, so I know that agents don't come to the office because
Right.
there's no need for that. And that's the same thing. Why would you hire somebody in the office if you're not there anyway?
When did you found Virtudesk?
Virtudesk was founded in 2016, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen a big evolution into the core principles of where you started to maybe feedback from users and just by way of doing it, have you seen a change in your focus?
Well, yeah, I mean, you gotta educate people about it because, again, not a lot of people get it, the concept. Those who do, they really love it and they leverage their time.
Yep.
The evolution is basically, I think, is what we're trying to bring right now with our proprietary software that we've developed for that. And I think that it could probably be used in the United States, you know, because a lot of people work remotely. So that's in our next step. We'll probably take it to VCs and show them and see what they think, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you most excited to see come next as it relates to technology for real estate? Or it could be technology at large. What technology is really getting you excited for the future? It's a loaded question.
It's a loaded question, kind of. It's basically whatever helps people to leverage the time. I think is very important, you know. And we all know that real estate agents are busy people, and by way of busy, sometimes we're trying to get a hold of agents, we can't.
Yeah.
And one of my friends right now in Seattle, he launched an app. Basically, it's like Uber for real estate.
Ooh, what's that all about?
It's a software. It's basically a platform. You guys can check it out. It's called NextMeet app, NEXT M-E, app. It's on Apple right now. So let's say you find a house, you're driving by the house and you want to see it, but let's say you don't have an agent, or if your agent is busy, not picking up the phone, so you can just basically see which agents are around, like Uber app.
Wow.
And you can request an agent to show up and open your house. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Kind of scary, but cool.
Kind of scary. Because
like a lot of tech.
Yeah. But that's what's going on.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
and he received a lot of criticisms from agents about it, but again, I think it's all basically going because of the people do not have time sometimes to respond to their clients.
Right. And this is part of just brokers, leasing agents in general, redefining the value proposition to their clients of what working with them really means.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did you have something to add?
Well, basically the tech is moving on into the industry like in the big steps right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we see Zillow already there. We see Amazon trying to do real estate. Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as I think somebody said, your commission is my opportunity. I think Jeff Bezos might have said that. But and he's right, because this industry is very lucrative, and the tech moving in there, because it was traditionally like a dinosaur.
Right.
Right now they're moving in, they're providing all those tools, and the real estate agents, a lot of the real estate agents feeling afraid that they're going to be replaced at some point by robots, which I don't think is going to happen, because for the simple reason that it requires a license to sell real estate. And the human element is still there, and a lot of agents sometimes think, well, I'm going to be replaced. Well, you will be replaced if you don't actually provide value.
Right.
I mean, your value should not be only the license that you have,
right.
access to the homes. No, your value should be more than that, and those agents who use the technology are going to win, I think.
Right, yeah, and so my specialty is more on the commercial side, but we see, certainly I can search for office space anywhere in the world without ever talking to a broker.
Exactly.
So in commercial real estate, if your value lives and dies with that function, then the value is over. But there is something to be said, of having a broker to, go up on your behalf and negotiate these complex deals from a commercial standpoint. But on the residential standpoint, there is a notion of, really upping the ante on the services and level of advisory that you're able to provide to your residents.
Exactly. And the real estate industry, especially the residential, it's a very emotional process for both buyer and seller. And sometimes deals can fall apart just because of emotions playing in. And I think the job of a good agent is actually to wean into that and to, approach it as objectively as possible for each client and, provide more value.
Yeah.
Provide more value. Like, we're in Seattle, we're a very hot market right now, multiple offers. It's hard to buy a house. So a good agent would actually not only just write up an offer, I mean, that could be done by anybody, but actually to make sure the person buys the house. And it's a trade. It's actually skills that they use. That the knowledge, the expertise. That's what the people hire us for.
Right.
They don't hire us just to put the listing on MLS and sell it. No,
right.
They hire us to use our expertise. And a lot of agents, as soon as they understand that, I think they're going to be doing.
Yeah, and what I like about Virtudesk is you guys are removing the friction, which is what technology should be doing. You're a tool that's helping remove a lot of the minutia from the day of a realtor to ultimately accomplish other things, hopefully more transactions, or spend their time more wisely, where there is a lot of fear of, this technology is going to replace me or disrupt my position. No, in fact, good technology really should remove the friction and enable you to just do your job better and more efficiently.
As soon as real estate agents actually understand that, the better off they're going to be.
Absolutely. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to share with us today?
We got a booth out there. If you guys would like to come in, come talk to us.
What's the number?
Booth? My phone number. Booth 237. Yeah.
All right.
Stop by.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pavel.